Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Toledo, your host on Dent Time PDR, a podcast about PDR training, tutorials, interviews, and much more. So get something to eat, drink, and start pushing. It's time to listen. What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Toledo. Thank you for joining us on this special podcast. We have an all-star podcast tonight. It's like Tool Time came over here and invaded me. So I've got Vince D'Alessandro.
Whoop, whoop.
The Daniel Grom.
Yeah.
We've got Christopher Ray from Dentless Touch. Okay. First time coming on and being all on a podcast together. And the most nicest guy in the world from Arkansas, Greg Van Winkle. How you doing, Greg?
What's up, fellas?
Good, man. Good. So what's going on? Like you guys just spiel it out, man. Can you say hi to each other?
Well, you know what? This is all about Greg, man. This is the episode about Greg, man. We are going to just shower him with some love tonight, and just it's all about him, I think.
You guys know I have to do a lot of editing tonight. Anytime Daniel comes on, I got to do a lot of editing.
Yeah.
Hey.
Here
we go again. Greg
know.
Van Winkle, how you doing over there, Greg?
Yeah, sorry.
I just want to tell you that
Stop teasing me. Yeah. These guys just tease me endlessly,
You're an easy target, Daniel.
Well, they're jealous. They're so jealous over my good looks, and because I'm 56, and they can't just believe that I have this head of hair.
Yeah.
And that I've got a nice fur coat.
You got a fur coat year round.
And I'm cuddly. I'm lovable, and it just eats them up. Greg, you know what that's like. You're a very handsome guy. You're on my level. You have to deal with these guys all the time. When you say that's right.
Totally jealous of all that. Totally jealous of DG for sure.
The first time I met Greg was at MTE, and you instantly go, oh, this guy is like the coolest guy ever. I want to hang with him because it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. and I talked him into, hey Greg, want to go to a tiki bar? And he's like, yeah. What's a tiki bar? And I go, great. I'm gonna show you what a tiki bar. And he goes, okay, let's go to a tiki bar. And so we grabbed him and his son and a bunch of other people that didn't know what I was talking about. And I took them all to a tiki bar. And Greg was on fire, man. This guy was just all over the bar. He was having so much fun, and we had a great time.
Now. Hold on, Daniel. Was that the first night or the second night? Did you go both nights to the tiki bar with you? Because I know you dragged us along on one of the nights. I didn't go 2 nights.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was one of them.
I do know that we were. I was behaving most of the time throughout the week, so that was the night that I'm like, okay, it's time to
let loose.
It's time to have some fun. So yeah, it was, and even with Devin being there, I was like, we're about to show out. We're about to have some fun for sure.
Yeah. And then, you know what, that's where I met your son too for the first time. Actually, that might've been the first time I met you too. But myself and Devin, we were the smokers. Actually, I'm the vapor. He was the smoker. He was outside. I spent probably an hour outside talking to Devin, and what a wonderful conversation I had. That's, that's what brought us to doing what we're doing for you guys, Van Winkle family.
Yep.
PDR Tool Time. That's why Mike had us on here, right, Mike?
That's right. Me and Christopher were actually going to be doing a podcast together, and then this came up, and then I said, Christopher, what do you think? Let's do something like this, and he said, I'm all for it, and here we are. And then I said, listen, you guys need to get involved too, and talking about Daniel and Vince, and here we are, Greg. So we are here to help support what's going on, what we're going to mention here. First of all, let's get some background about you. Where are you from? How long you've been doing PDR? And then we'll get into what this podcast is about.
I grew up, obviously still here in Arkansas. I was a paint and body guy for 10 years, and eventually had seen a guy come in the shop and do some PDR, and just come to sort of a sort of crossing paths in my life that I wanted to do something different, and actually invested in PDR, and been doing it for almost 20 years now, and still, after all these years, still very passionate about it. Still love it. Have a retail shop in Arkansas, and just enjoy it every day. It's sort of weird because they say find something that you love and find something that you're passionate about, and it's never worked. And I feel like that has been my calling for the last 20, because still to this day, if I don't push one day or whatever, it's pretty tough. I want to get back in there and push. And so that's sort of who I am, and just really, really love PDR.
Hey, Greg, you just opened up that retail shop a couple years ago, correct?
No. I've had a retail shop for 5 years.
Okay.
What I did is I moved from a different location. We moved from a 1,500 square foot on the back street of a road to a almost 5,000 square feet on a main road with 35,000 plus in front of a day with a traffic light. So we just moved into a bigger, better location. And we've been there for 1 full year and 4 years, obviously, at the previous location.
Yeah, because you did a great job. It looks awesome.
I know.
You and Mike Toledo.
Well, thank you.
Shop. You have a nice shop.
Damn, when am I going to come
Thank
over
you.
for dinner and eat there?
I tell you, we're proud of it, very proud of it, and really appreciate everybody's feedback. And it's really invested a lot of money into it. Really tried to make it as an example of what we were thinking, making people really comfortable. They walk in clean and neat, inside and out. A lot of your guys' advice and a lot of the MTEs and the training seminars and things like that to sort of just help educate us to try to come up with exactly what we want. And we feel like we did that. So it's been good. Very thankful.
Yeah. I can't say enough about your shop. It just looks immaculate. It's huge. It's nice. It's professional. And I think that's what people want to see. And I'm sure you've heard countless customers come in and go, wow, I have never seen a shop that clean or that nice, or at least a service shop. So congrats on that.
Yeah. We keep the door open from the front office lobby area to the back. I learned a lot from Paul Corden and a lot of his sales tactics, and trying to make sure to educate the people in our area about PDR. So seeing the back, educating them on PDR, bringing them back to where they could see everything that we have, the different types of tooling and how clean it is. And it's very, very, it works really well. And so we're thankful.
Well, that definitely pays off there. Hey, pays off. Anybody have any other questions before we get into a couple more details about this fundraiser? Chris?
How old are you, Greg?
I'm 45.
45. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought you were my age. You got a year on me for now.
Dude, you look 35.
Yeah, well, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're like the most handsomest man in PDR, man.
Does.
The poster when someone Googles PDR, Wikipedia, your gentle face should come up there and be like the poster child for it. You look very welcoming.
Oh goodness! Now it's getting overboard, guys. Come on.
I just tell my wife, she's like, "What's he look like?" I says, "Greg Van Winkle." That's what he looks like. So you don't need to see him.
That's awesome.
Hey, listen. I don't want to change the subject into a different obviously from a good subject to unfortunately not such a happy subject. But your son, Devin, obviously he had some a little tragedy happened to him, and it's just best that you just tell us the story from what happened. And people want to know what exactly happened from, how did he get in this shape, and how is he doing now, and why we're helping you, and helping your son mainly. So let's just start from the from the top. What happened?
Well, he had started dating a young lady, and over a few months, as a dad, and as you know, you just sort of pay attention to signs, and you pay attention to maybe the way she responds on things, and you sort of just get a hunch on, hey, maybe this girl is not as good as what as what somewhat might think. You know, I don't want to look at it in a negative term right off the bat, but over time I'd seen a lot of negativity, no drive in life, no ambition to want to do better for herself. You know, she was young as well, but anyway, he was dating her for a while, and over time I was like, Devin, I really don't think that this is a good fit. And they'd broke up a few times, and they had, it had got bad back and forth several times. Well, eventually he'd listened to me, and he actually had broke it off with her. And it was, you know, he was really struggling with it because he did think a lot of her, but he was just at the point that he knew it was the right decision. They'd broke up, 2-3 days went by, and she'd made a couple threats to him, you know, but obviously being a young lady, it wasn't a big deal. He didn't think much about it. And he was out on the town with his guys, just sort of trying to get away from everything and trying to do the right thing by staying away from her. He honestly pulled up at a location, and he had just a couple little buddies with him, and they were just, you know, just enjoying the night. And he went to get out of a pickup truck and basically was in total fight mode because he'd had 2 guys jump on him, and he'd had 2 other guys that were beating on his friends. And it was obviously at that point in time, you don't know what's going on. It's basically just self-defense, trying to do what you can to get by. He had got one of them off of him. He was fighting one of them, and one of the other ones came back and actually clotheslined Devin. Devin was fighting one of them on the ground and clotheslined him. And when he clotheslined him, he actually hit his head on the back of the pavement, on the pavement, and had 2 brain swelling of the brain on the back of the head, 2 different locations. And the guy that he was fighting on the ground got up, and Devin at that point in time was unconscious. The guy that he was fighting on the ground got up and went over and hit Devin 3 more times while Devin was completely unconscious. He, you know, obviously didn't even know what happened. The police came, everybody scattered, this and that. Long story short, all the stories had come out. And there's a lot more information in between that's not necessarily something that, you know this podcast.
Yeah,
Greg,
it can't be that long.
I want to stop you right there because, you know, that just sends chills up my spine. And just as a father, I can't even imagine what you went through in that moment of hearing this and knowing what happened. It's freaking heartbreaking. And as a father, I'm like, I don't know how you control yourself, because that would just put me in rage to do something.
Yes, absolutely. And it was there, but I can assure you the number one priority was, you know, the next, you know, 36 hours was just, is he gonna live? You know, is he gonna make it? And so you sort of put that stuff on the back burner to try to think about the well-being of him was the primary focus. Obviously, in that point of time, also getting details on exactly what happened. She was she actually was the person that actually arranged everything. They arranged to pull up and target Devin. It was all her, but she actually, you know, drove the getaway car, I guess you could say. And he got pretty much, you know, a beat down from a bunch of guys he really didn't even know. And he didn't really know what he was even having to do because he was ultimately in a fight. Right. So with that being said, There was a lot of legal issues, like the state is still in the process of prosecuting several of them. There was a lot of information that I couldn't let out. I told actually some guys here locally about the situation, but I was trying not to say too much based on the legal issues that were still intact and trying to get information from. And I was working with the state appointed detective, and so it's been it's been pretty tough, man. It's been when you think about your son being hurt over something that's unnecessary. It's not a car accident. It's not, anything that,
it brings out Papa Bear is what it brings out.
Sure.
Papa Bear, and you want to take care of shit,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it when it's something that could be prevented, it just makes it even worse. And specifically with a lot of the injuries that didn't have to actually, the hitting when the kid's unconscious. I mean, come on, he had a fracture. I mean, his skull was cracked from temple to temple based on 3 hits that were hit when he was unconscious. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So it was definitely something that was hard to swallow without taking, like you said, DG, taking your own vengeance and doing really some crazy things that, were probably legit, but you got to be smart enough about it to let it go temporarily.
You can't go on their level.
It's one of those things too that, it's one thing, kids are going to get into fights. It happens.
Sure.
We all were dumb and stupid when we were younger and made bad decisions, but to sit there and continuously hit someone when they're down, that's just uncalled for and unnecessary.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I always taught Devin that if somebody wanted to fight, let's measure up, let's do it. But when you're outnumbered by multiple people, that just totally changes the game, man. It's just it's different then,
It's dirty.
So Greg, after the incident, how long was he in the hospital for?
He was in the hospital for a little bit over 2 weeks. He was in ICU for 7 days. The first 3, like I said, we didn't know if he was even going to live. While being in there, seeing Devin at different stages of the brain works in so many different ways, and his brain was. I remember 2 days vividly of him being completely angry. It wasn't the person that Devin is, and they were having to strap him down into bed. He was cussing people. He was fighting people, and one specific day, physical therapy was in there working with him, and I was helping her actually try to get him up and walk. And, you think of a 22-year-old that's pretty much bulletproof, but this kid I was helping, and the therapist, which was a pretty good sized lady, was strapped to Devin, and he was walking like a 95-year-old man, no balance, no sense of what was even going on. And it was pretty horrible to see. Like I said, getting back to something that didn't have to happen. And so after that, he eventually got better. After he got out of ICU, he was in just a regular hospital, and he actually progressed very quickly after that. The routine things of getting up, his balance was getting better. He was still struggling, but it was getting better. At that point in time, they'd mentioned that he was guaranteed going to be out of work for 6 months. And so we were, me and his mother was actually, thinking of everything we could financially to try to get the kid in a, get him in position to have to deal with this financial crisis that he was going to be in, and move him out of his place and so on. And as PT and he kept going through therapy, progressed rapidly. It went really well. They had actually narrowed it down to like 4 to 6 weeks that maybe he would be back to work and be back to normal. And so we were excited. We were happy. He was there, still dealing with a lot of headaches, dizziness, ear balance issues that were improving, but they still wasn't 100%. So improvements rapidly there for a while. We were very, very thankful and excited about the continuous improvement. So
now I talked to you. We talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We were touching base, and then you told me this story, and you said you kept it on the low because of the investigation and things like that, and plus you didn't want really anybody to know because you were going through some times. We left off on a good note, and you said, yeah, everything's great. He's going to make a recovery. He's thank God nothing worse happened to him or anything like that. And I said, yeah, that is awesome news. And then I heard yesterday that now your son is having a much harder time to recover far as getting back on his feet into PDR. Let's go into that now.
Yeah.
What the heck's going on with that, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, back when we'd spoke, I'd actually talked to you, and I think Paul Corden had reached out to me too. And look, I'm a guy that tries to see good in everything. I try to. It doesn't matter if things are going bad. I want to try to look at the good and try to encourage. Probably too much, to be honest. Sometimes I could probably be a little less positive. But my point was, yes, he continued to progress rapidly in his everyday movement. So therefore, we were expecting him to do the same thing in his job. Devin is a 3-year technician. He's been trained by me, every day, and not only trained but critiqued and really, really pushed to do great PDR with his name and his reputation involved in it. So he has the love that I have for it. And so when he got to the point that he was progressing physically, we we're doing our best to have him up front, dealing with customers as they walk in the door. We're just getting him to interact and try to get back to the normal Devin that he used to be. And then when we started trying to get him in the back to look at just a light, and he couldn't even look at a light like on a side panel. He got dizzy instantly. He is still dealing with that after several weeks. He, at this present time, hasn't progressed at all. He's not made a dime. I've been taking care of all his financial situation. He is very, very negative. He's very scared that he may not ever get it back again. We're having to make different judgment calls based on his finances that's best for him. And I had pulled doors off for, small repairs that Devin used to could do in 30 minutes just so he could get the practice of looking at a panel without moving his head, because he can't tilt his head to the left and he can't tilt it to the right and he can't tilt it back because he will get so sick quick. And so, and my theory in life is to push through. It's like, look, no matter how bad things are, if you work hard, things will get better. Well, when you're dealing with the mind, that's not necessarily the right kind of attitude, because
that's not true at all. Right. No, that's true. It's not. And when you're dealing with the mind, as you know, DG, you can't push it to the limit and expect the results that you want, because it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. The brain has a lot of, shall I say, when it gets hurt, it's got a lot of wiring to relocate, reconnect, and it does take time. And I think what you're trying to say is that your son feels helpless, right? And he feels helpless, and he's frustrated because he feels helpless, and he doesn't want to depend on dad, and more importantly, he still wants to have a future in PDR, and he feels really scared that he's not going to be able to continue to do what he loves.
Right. Yeah. It's a pride thing. He absolutely loves it. He is very passionate about it. So yes, he's worried if it ever will come back the way it was. He is, I mean, just in today, guys, I had him trying to fix a simple little dent, and it's tough to watch, you know, as a dad that trained the young man, and he's very, very, you know, skilled for such a short amount of time. And when he's going through this and you see him struggle, I mean, it's the simplest little things that we take for granted every day.
Yeah.
And it's something that, he's really having a hard time with it mentally, and trying to keep him motivated, trying to keep him encouraged, trying to, you know, do everything I can to sort of, you know, let's keep going. We got this. You know, you can do it.
You know, Greg, I hope that what we're doing here today, and then we're reaching out to our listeners and to our dent community, and that's what makes our dent community great, is they come together when guys like you and others in history that have needed help, and hopefully we can give you the time, because what you said earlier about the brain, it needs time, and, you know, not to push your son maybe so hard, and learn a little bit of patience and let the brain heal, because I think it heals slower than the other parts of the body. And hopefully we can come together as the community and help you out and give you a little bit of relief and a little bit of, I can breathe again. We can not try to rush this, and, you know, let him recover, let his, you know, brain do his thing and recover, and you know, progress naturally, maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
And Greg,
Yeah.
it looks like you have a tight, you know, family business there. You know, how has Devin's situation kind of impacted the business?
It has definitely. It's opened our eyes to a lot of different perspectives based on decisions that are based for the business. More than anything, and honestly, it's been more opposite. It's actually brought me more closer to Devin as my son than as Devin, you know, as the business. The business obviously is something I've built over the 20 years, but Devin has been a part of that, and none of that matters when it comes to his well-being, and none of that matters when it comes to the relationship with your son. All that stuff is, you know, second fiddle. It has made me appreciate him more, and has made me try to figure out even more that's what's best for him instead of what's best for the business. Because if you're not thinking about trying to make the business grow all the time, I feel like you're failing the business. Right now, it's not so much about the business as much as it is about Devin and you know, trying to help him. That's more to me than anything. So I would say opposite. Like I said, the business is important, but his well-being and his normal everyday activity is far more valuable than money or business or anything like that. So,
Greg, have you talked to the neurosurgeon? What's his you know, his prognosis about his recovery? Has he said anything, given you any feedback or anything like that?
Yeah, the only thing he's been able to tell us is the fact that there's no magic number. There's no, you know, 1 week, you know, 6 months, 3 years. There's nothing that's going to be able to give us the answers that we want for that. He just says that him being the age that he is definitely, you know, an advantage compared to someone of my age. He said, but it's just going to take time, and he doesn't have the right answers. Devin goes to physical therapy twice a week. He goes and works on different skills and different tests to try to get his brain to function in different directions. And you can see when he comes back from PT, he's beat. I mean, he is drained. He is, you would have thought he was in 2 days football practice. I mean, you could see it on his face. And he definitely is struggling with it. And it's something that with the advancement of everything early, we thought that was going to, advance the same, but it has not at all. So we're just.
Now, Greg, after I talked to you the other day, and I know you're a really proud Southern man, and you don't like taking, handouts. You're usually on the giving side of it instead of the receiving side. And, I know for myself, I don't like receiving help at all. I'm a proud man. I got to do it myself. I got to figure things out myself. But, that's the wonderful thing about our community is, I know you didn't share it with a lot of people, and when it finally was shared and people stepped up to help you out, and they're coming out of the woodworks. I'm amazed at the amount of tool companies that have donated to this to the fund that we're doing for you. We're and it's for Devin. It's I know financially you guys are fine. You're a great businessman. You were smart enough to have health insurance, so that's not the burden that you have with the bills and stuff like that, I'm assuming, right?
Right. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. My wife is a nurse.
Yeah.
And so Devin obviously is still on her insurance based on everything. But yes, no, listen, Vince, we'd talked Saturday. I'd sent a text out to Ryan Hampton and told Ryan happy birthday. A couple of technicians one of the technicians I trained, Shane Gladwell, works with Ryan currently, and Ryan had sort of knew a little bit of information based on Devin. And so Ryan had asked instantly about the family and Devin, and based on the current situation, I'm like, well, Ryan, right now is where we're at. And he called me and next thing I know, there's a, there's a donation online for Devin, and then Vince reaches out, then DG reaches out. I mean, you guys are just, listen, you're right. I'm a hard worker, and I'm not one to ask anyone for anything. And I can assure you, Devin is the same way.
Yeah.
This is very uncomfortable for us to actually be receiving help from someone, even though
this isn't about that. Though this isn't about that, Greg. You know what I mean? This is a brotherhood community here, and when one falls, we all fall, and then we all get back up.
Yeah,
together.
it's been astonishing. I don't. Devin's felt the same way. We've talked about it, and I don't know how to thank people enough. It's very, very, very.
Foreign.
We're just thankful.
Foreign and uncomfortable because you never had to read.
Yeah.
Here's how you have to think of it, Greg. Is when somebody gives you a gift, you're giving them joy. So it's.
Yeah.
Think of it that way, that you're giving somebody joy to be able to help out. So I'm sure you've stepped up and helped out others. So it's just karma coming back to you, brother.
That's what we're supposed to do. It's what we're,
You never know. You never know who needs the help next, man. You know what I mean? So, and unfortunately, I mean, it just, we're here to help you and your son, man. Happens. Mainly your son. So,
but this is a teaching moment for techs out there to get yourself not only health insurance, but get yourself some kind of disability. Like Aflac, some kind of disability. If you don't have that bucket filled up, start looking at it. I started with a company called Combined Insurance, and they're really, really inexpensive and a good way to start.
Good. I have disability as well, and I think that's a good point, Daniel. Vince, what is What is okay? Let's just get to the fundraiser part. Like, there's a link on. Okay, if you guys are listening to this podcast, you can go to denttimepdr.com. There is a link there. There's a link on the Dent Time page. There's a link on PDR Tooltime page. There's a link, I'm assuming, on pdrtooltime.com. Is that there yet, Vince? Or is it going
not
to be?
Yet. No,
It
Not
will
yet.
be
Okay.
though. 'Cause,
We'll be there tonight.
and I'm sure it's all over Facebook right now. So
it's all over Facebook. We blasted it on Facebook.
what are some of the raffles that they're giving away for the donation of $50 or more?
Okay, $50 raffle ticket basically is what it is. You contribute $50 to the GoFundMe link, and we're keeping track of everyone. That's how we're monitoring it. For every $50, you get one entry into the raffle, and basically there's a ton of tools. I can't even add it up just yet because tool companies are actually contacting me while this is going on right now, offering up tools. So just to give you some ideas, I'll run through it real quick. We have Elimident, we have Dentman Tools, we have Anson, we have Edgy Tools, Endeavor Dent Tools, Magnatech Me with the Doodah and a Magnatech mat, Carbon Tech, Mobile Tech RX, Ultra Dent Tools, LiftRight, Dent Engineer, Dent Trainer, TDN, Mobile Tech Shade, Pro PDR Solutions, B&D, Stanliner, and PDR World Cup, and Dent Trainer. So, I mean, it's easily well over $10,000 worth of tools that are going to be raffled up here for Devin and his recovery here.
That's amazing. So,
Man, it's amazing. Absolutely.
So the gentleman that started the GoFundMe, Shane Glidwell, he put a $9,000 goal. We're hoping to blow that away. The raffle is going to be next week, next Tuesday. I believe that's October 2nd. I'm correct.
Guess what day that is, guys?
Hopefully it's Devin's birthday.
It's Devin's birthday.
No
Get out of
way.
here. Shut up.
No
really?
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Wow.
brother.
Dude, that was not planned.
10-2-95.
Okay.
10-2-95. That's my boy.
Look at
Winner,
that.
winner, chicken dinner.
Wow.
Well,
That's
So,
funny.
that's
I'm
definitely
really
a blessing.
hoping to blow out that $9,000 goal in the next week. Just today, it went up like $2,000. So for every $50 spent, you get a ticket. So there's some guys that have already done $500, $200, $300. So it's going to go well. It couldn't go to the more nice people than you guys. You know, you guys are solid, rock, salt of the earth type of people. I'm glad to step up and help. I never done anything like this before for anyone.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this.
Yeah.
Guys, it's your kindness is so appreciated. You just really have no idea how much this is.
Well, hopefully it lifts your son's spirits. That's what we really need to do. We really need to lift up his spirits.
He's not alone.
Yeah.
And so, but Greg, I know if you want to stick around for the podcast, please do. But I don't want to take up too much of your time. I wanted to get you in here. We wanted to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. And we love you, brother, and your son, and we expect a full recovery, and we're here for you, everybody, not just.
And we expect to see him at MTE.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be great, guys. I hope that we can pull it off. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate everything.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank
you, Greg.
See you. Thank you.
Wow, crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Blink of an eye.
We all have kids. I mean, and 3 out of 4 of us right now have sons, and I took everything I could from not like tearing, dude. So I mean, I can't even imagine that, dude. My son just getting jumped for nothing, and then getting.
Dude, my little girl told me a story about she was getting bullied on the bus a little bit, and I can't tell you how enraged I got for it. I was just like, "Whoa, where's that kid? I'm gonna beat the crap out of him."
Yeah,
And her parents.
Yeah,
Well, we this is a special edition, so we really didn't have like a game plan technically for after Greg came on, but I'm just gonna bring something up. let's just talk about, since we're all really good techs, at least me, Vinny, and Chris are. But
Oh, come on.
and I'm the exception. I'm great.
yeah, okay, there you go.
You guys are good,
yeah.
but I'm great.
I did give you credit for buying the cold glue.
I'm
on
great.
The last one. On the last podcast, if you didn't hear, I did give you credit for the cold glue. So, but with Dawn, I'm sorry, Dawn, when we were with Dawn. So let's talk about, I've been getting a lot of new Stanliner tools, guys, and because we're going to bring this in, dude. How many of you guys have any Stanliner tools?
Me.
Anybody?
Yeah, I have some.
You have some, Chris? Which ones do you have, Chris?
Yeah, I have the mini, and I think it's the double bend shave kind of mini tool. I don't know what it's called.
Is it like the fish, kind of like the fish tool, kind of like, because it kind of bend a little bit?
It looks like a double bend kind of pick tool, but it's shaved.
Oh,
And it's the mini. It's only about 20 inches long, I guess. I actually used it today.
How'd it work?
Yeah. Perfect. I use it for fenders. It comes right underneath that lip, right on the very edge, and I get.
I think you're saying like, okay, all right. Is it real flat and thin?
Real flat and thin. Yep.
Yeah, I think
probably about a 3/8 gauge.
Yeah.
is it a round blade tip at the end?
It has a curvature tip. You can use it in different ways. Basically, sometimes I use it on the hood and just push straight up like a double bend.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times I'm using the side of the tool. I've noticed that the Stanliner tool just push completely different than any other tool. I don't know. So
Yeah, it's almost like
I'm
a
still
soft
playing
tip.
around with it. It almost pushes like a soft tip.
Yeah.
At least I have that much control over it. So I love it.
Well, and is that your go-to tool that you're using right now, or is that one of your favorites, or which one?
Yeah. So for fenders, especially something that is on either a body line or like right on the edge of the fender, that's pretty much my go-to tool right there. If I can get enough leverage, because it's still the mini. So, that 3/8 rod, does flex a little bit, but I don't know. It reacts different than any tool that I have in my toolbox. So
Now,
I can't wait to.
Did it come straight from Stanliner, or is it an A1?
It comes straight from Stanliner.
Okay.
And, me personally, I don't know the whole back end story of the Stanliner and A1 collaboration, but for me, it came straight from Stanliner, and I kind of want to go with that because whatever he's using and the metal that he's using, it's completely different than any other tool. So
Sure, I agree.
Does someone know about the A1? Is it the same tool or no?
It's I don't know. I can't answer that either. I don't know if it's the same metal or not. But when you pick them up, do you have any A1s, Chris?
I actually don't have any A1 tools.
They
Nope.
feel
Ultra.
they feel pretty close to identical as far as the weight of them. But there is something, like you said, there's this a little like something different about the Stanliner ones, because now my collection is starting to grow. And honestly, what's cool about these Stanliner tools is that one tool isn't just designed for one purpose. So that's what's starting. It's almost like, okay, here it is, unlock the capabilities of this tool. So that's what I'm beginning to find out. Vince has a great collection of them already. So tell me about yours, Vince. Which one's your go-to Stanliner?
Well, my two go-to is the Pirate Hook. I think it's it came as a 30 inch. I lopped it off and put the hexagon on it, so it fits all the different handles for Ultra. And then the other one is the Killer Whale, and both of those are my go-to. They've replaced about 3 or 4 tools in my toolbox.
Those are the two I have too.
Yeah.
And then I have the mini Pirate Hook too.
And I've used the mini Pirate Hook. I'm fortunately mentoring a kid from Bolivia right now. A kid. He's not a kid. He's an adult. And he's bought all of them. So he always comes in with a new one. He's like, hey, Vince, check out this one. Check out this one. So I get to check them out. And without having to purchase them yet. So, that's like a dead guy's
That's the
dream.
perfect world for you.
Right? But I think with the Stanliner, with A1, the first generations of the ones that were coming out of A1, they were definitely not what I would consider Stanliner material. But A1, they had sent me some sets to try out, and I sent them back with my opinions and whatnot, and they've changed them. and I don't know if they changed the carbon in the steel or the steel rods that they were using, but they're definitely stronger.
A1, you're right. A1 is definitely. I was about to say that their tool manufacturing or what they're doing now is different. It's
different.
It is different. So
yeah, and now A1 has they have brought in they're doing black oxide on all their spring steels. So all new tools coming out A1 are going to have black oxide. And if you don't know what that is, Dentcraft tools, that blackness to the tool prevents rust. It's not 100%, rust proofing, but it does cut it down and it looks cool.
Yeah. I think I know Steinliner has high expectations on A1, and they wanted to make sure that they adhered to their standards. So they're on top of that, I believe. And I think the tools that they were given to A1 were thought to be more of the mainline stuff that Americans would gravitate to and use, and not have a lot of learning curve like the pirate hook or the whale tail. And honestly, I wouldn't have known how to use the pirate hook or the whale tail unless when we were at MTE and I got hands on
with Stanline or with
Mike, you got it too with the killer whale, didn't you, Mike?
Yeah,
that's what started it, guys. I mean, let's put it to use. I mean, Chris is doing videos. I think Bryce has done videos. I've done some videos. Vince, you've done some. But
it has its limitations too, though.
It does. Yeah.
Like, when you're using the pirate hook, you almost have to be like a 90 degrees to the dent.
A perfect, it has to be.
And you get off to a skew, and then it doesn't work the same. And it's like, okay, if I could tilt it, if I could like take the tool in the middle of the shaft and tilt it, 30 degrees, then it would work again. But so it has its limitations, and it's a specialty tool. I put it in that category. When you, Mike, or what?
That particular, the killer whale tail? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm actually using.
But I think you were the smart one, and you were the first one to take the tool and lop it off and put the hexagon head on it. And you can now lengthen it or shorten it. And that's a big advantage, because when I first got them, I was like, these things are too long.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Greg joined us back. He wanted to come back. What's up, Greg?
Hey, fellas.
we glad you could join us back, man. We are talking about Stanliner tools.
Oh, nice. Very, very nice tools.
So yeah, I'm gonna let you jump in a second here, because I'm gonna finish what Daniel was just saying. He was just saying he was using the whale tail, and he thinks it had the killer whale tail, and it does have some limitations, and he was asking me about it. And Daniel, I agree with you. I'd love to take credit first of all, but Vince beat me to the the octagon part, because he's the one. I told him I wanted to do it, but that guy he had Paul send the tools over and do it, and it makes a world of a difference, for at least if you already own Ultra stuff. So I think
I think I'd like to see that marriage happen, is Ultra and Steinliner come together and put that octagon on all their tools.
They tried already to technically work something out, but it just didn't come about. So
no. There's some other tools that are going to be coming down. I believe at MTE we're going to see a new handle released by a European company, which we all know and love very much. And they're going to have their own version. It's not an octagon, but it's a quick release, and it's pretty badass.
Maybe Mike Toledo's imagination can do a hybrid or something, or
yeah.
Mike's already invested in all the octagon handles, man.
I know, huh?
It just looks so nice. It's so pretty and just perfect,
He likes pretty.
I'm like
he likes shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny.
I tell you what's my go-to tool right now, man, is the crane. So the double bend crane. When you look at it, you're like, how in the hell do you use this tool?
Is that the one Bryce Kelly did a little video on?
No.
Okay.
No, he didn't do a crane. I think he did. What did he do? He just did one
Like a cobra head or
no, he did. Yeah, he did the rounded snake.
Rounded snake.
Yeah, which I like too as well. But the crane, surprisingly, you can use. Dude, it's like butter in the fender. It is surprisingly works well in the door.
What kind of dent? Give us more info.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do a sharp crease on the fender. Okay, let's do a deep ding on a fender. Let's do let's see here, deep ding and a crease going across the fender all at once. Okay, and I wouldn't say a big dent. It's not you can. I would say it's between a finishing midpoint mid area repair dent tool and a finishing one for sure. So it is like I agree with what Chris says. It pushes different. It doesn't you're so used to pushing.
It doesn't work your body as much.
Not just that, it's just a feel when you're pushing, the reaction of the metal, how it's normally reacts with any other tip. It's just it's kind of just I don't know. It's hard to explain, right, Chris?
I normally put tape on a lot of my tools, but on this tool, it's no tape. So it reacts completely. It almost acts as you have tape, and then when you need that sharp point, it works.
Yeah.
How are you noticing this tool? Because I'm looking at the crane right now. It's crazy configuration that they have right here.
Yeah, it's like a hook, right? A humped hook.
Yeah, hook and then another hook.
Yeah.
But how is this working for like high strength in aluminum?
I haven't tried it on the aluminum yet, so that's a good question. Okay. I haven't tried it. I was on a high strength steel of a Camry fender today. It works awesome. Like it works great. Actually, I think the stronger the metal, the better it works. Because I was on I did a tutorial on YouTube on it, and I was pushing on my Honda, and it was like almost too good for it. It's like it's kind of like it wants more. You know what I mean? It wants you to push more. What are you doing, Daniel?
No, I have a theory. About Stanliner tools. You do realize Kaz is like in his late 60s, right?
Is he in his 60s or is he a little bit higher than that?
He might even be higher than that. He might be in his 70s now. We've known Kaz going back to Doording days, right?
Yeah.
He's comprised tools, and we don't even know the limits of these tools because he doesn't do videos. He just shows these monstrous dents that he fixed with them with minimal effort, right? So my theory is that it's less on the body. It's more ergonomically correct. And you're not pushing as hard. You're letting the tool do a lot of the work for you. We're probably using them wrong, but they're effective still with our methods. But I think the younger generation that is going to come up and start with Stanliner tools, they're going to friggin' blow us out of the water.
I know. I think I'm starting to see that.
Have you noticed that some of the younger guys actually can see the details a lot quicker than at least I have been able to? It's crazy. Yeah, the board. I mean, I still learned on the board, a fade board, a white. I don't know what kind of board it was, plastic board with a spray paint black, line through it, and so
still use it.
Okay, well now they get these illuminant boards or these LED boards, and they're getting on the center of the dent a lot quicker. 3 or 4 months in.
Yeah, dude, I'm teaching these guys, and I'm getting pissed off at them. You should be struggling. You shouldn't fix the dent that fast, man. So, Greg, what's your What you said you own some Stanliner tools. What are you using?
Yeah, I use the hook, and it's been a really, really nice. I don't have many, and the hook I use a lot on creases. And it's just so smooth. It was basically a description of what you said earlier. It just makes it really, really easy. It's smooth. I really, really like the tool. I like the strength of the tool. I like obviously the way it's made, and they just make great tools.
The quality is exceptional.
Sure. Yes, it is. And his philosophy, and I would just about call it like internally blending at times when you're working. I learned so much from him at one of the seminars to where if you got a really, really sharp crease dent by just lightly blending it with the tool from the backside just releases so much pressure. And then when you get down to the very sharp point of it, if you need to open it back up just to continue to lightly tap it out, it's just a whole nother method that was so effective for me.
Explain blending from pushing with the tool. Like what do you mean by that for the listeners?
Well, in my opinion, it's a slapping a tool from the backside of the panel. If you have a dent that's really knotted up and you have a limit on how much you want to open it up based on it's getting incredibly big. So you try to open it up, release the pressure, and there's several tools that you can just take and slap the back side of the deepest part of the dent, and it just slowly releases the dent. At that point, then you decide if you need to open just the immediate center back up again to finish it out. But it's just a blending process instead of where I was taught, you really just apply pressure and push it out. This is more of just a slowly repetitive slapping from the back side of the panel, and it's effective. It's really effective on hard shots, and to release that pressure and make it to where it's a fixable dent.
And to put that into visual mode of what it's like is he's taking the tool and he's leveraging it and slapping it, and it's slapping on the backside over and over really fast, just like you do on the when you're using your blending hammer and hitting it boom, boom,
yes.
boom, 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 boom. You're doing the same thing on the inside, and you're taking the
yes.
tool and you're slapping it. And it's not easy to learn. It's something that I'm still learning to do.
Yeah. I haven't.
And the other.
Go ahead,
Greg.
Mike. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the other side of that is it's less stressful on your body. It's to where if you work on a crushed panel and you're all day long, you're just completely exhausted. By doing that method, it just gives you so much more strength at the end of the day based on there's not as much energy used in order to do it.
This is really interesting. We need to keep talking.
Yeah, and that's all what he's about too. If you look at Kaz, he's probably 5'4".
No, come on,
Daniel.
How tall is he?
He's like your size, dude.
Dude, you're 5'2".
Yeah,
he's taller than you.
You gotta look at Daniel. Dude.
Regardless of his height and his weight and his age, the man's in phenomenal shape.
Exactly. In phenomenal shape, but he's not a big man.
No, not at all.
And he's an elderly man. He's in his 60s, so he looks like a jockey. What?
Daniel, you carry your charisma all the time, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, 56-year-old, going on 4 years old, dude. But this guy seriously, Daniel is my buddy, man. We travel all the time together. This guy loves tools more than
you know. What we got to go
presents.
to Disneyland this year.
See,
I haven't shown you guys Disneyland. We got to go to Disneyland at MTE.
No thanks.
To show you what really Disneyland is like.
No.
I'll go to another tiki bar before I go to Disneyland.
Tiki bar it is.
You haven't gone to Disneyland with me. See,
did you say titty bar?
You're grumpy old man. You're grumpy.
All right. Okay. All right. Hey, tech tip time, dude. Anybody got some tech tips? Hey, Greg, let's start with you. Oh, you want to think about it, Greg?
I definitely need to think about it. Yeah. Let me think about it.
Right. Vinny?
Okay, yeah. My tech tip, I finally upgraded my Hotbox or my WyoBox to a Hotbox, and it makes all the difference in the world having an actual good machine rather than a Chinese knockoff. So when blending rails,
what you're saying is stop being cheap.
Did it make a difference?
Stop being cheap. Yeah. Stop being cheap. I'm learning it. It's taken me 3 years to learn this, but I'm a long learner. But so I had on rails, what I've been doing, and you guys probably do this, Christopher and Greg, you probably do this because you see a lot more rails and hail damage. But I'm doing combination repairs with glue and the Hotbox at the same time because I don't see hail out here. but I see the karate chops of surfboards across the rails and, ladders on a rail and things like that, where you got a sharp center and you can't glue pull out that center 100%. So what I've been doing, and it's very effective, is that I'll glue pull it, and then I'll use the hot box while it's high to bring up that center, and then I start blending. So if you have a hot box, you'll notice how it works is the heat induction, it'll make it rise up. But Mike and I, we struggled with that early on with the hot boxes, and concave panels, they would drop or they wouldn't move. But when you already release that pressure and start with a glue pull and getting that dent up, and then hitting it with the hot box and making more of a smooth mound to knock down or to blend out rather than a high peak, it makes a world of difference.
So you're saying it relaxes the metal, it pre-relaxes the metal so the hot box can do its thing?
Yeah, it's like, you glue pull, and you might instead of having a pyramid, you make a smooth mound out of that pyramid. That way, when you blend, it has something to go to instead of collapsing the outside of the dent and causing it to go right back down into where it was before.
Interesting. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's good.
All right. I'm done.
Chris or Daniel, which one wants to go first?
Hey, you caught me off guard, so.
All right, don't worry about it. I might catch myself off guard too.
Actually, I posted this one today. So
Daniel has a whole
he's
black book.
Can I borrow one tonight, Daniel? Can I borrow one?
Come on, pull out your black book of tech tips.
So I posted this one today. So you guys that are smart, not like Vince, and have an iPhone, you guys are in luck, because the new iPhone OS, if you upgrade, you'll get this nice little measuring app.
Yep.
And Mike is showing off his new iPhone
Max
X Plus, Max, whatever it is. Yeah,
that's my new go-to camera.
The Mo money. And so if you upgrade your phone to the OS, you will get this nice little measuring app. Now, the key to the measuring app is it has to find an edge. So what you have to do is you have to take a marker and mark the dent with a marker, and then you can use the app to measure your dent. So you can get an accurate measurement when you're using Mobile Tech RX, of course, to get your maximum dollar.
And you know what? We were talking to John yesterday from Mobile Tech RX, and
I don't know if you want to release that.
Never mind.
Keep that secret. Shush.
Everybody's getting creative with that. You're on.
Big mouth.
Guys.
Vince is a big mouth.
You got one? You're passing, Chris.
No, just to talk about what Greg was talking about with the slapping the dent. I've been playing around with the vibration, kind of the exact same thing with blending. I've learned blending probably 9 years ago. We had a tech come in, forget his name, Keith, I believe. And anyway, so he was talking about vibration, and I actually had a gentleman come to my workshop, and he was doing the same thing but reverse. And he was just bringing the dent, but just a bunch of small little pushes, and the molecules of that panel just starts to change, almost like you're adding heat. And I've been playing around with it, and it does work. It doesn't kind of vibrate out, but it just allows the tension to kind of release in that certain panel. So
are you noticing a difference between metal and plastic?
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you're talking about vibrations, you get a different vibration with metal on metal. So if you're using a metal tip
plastic
on
tip?
your blending hammer over a plastic tip, and it gives a different vibration. And there's not one is better than the other, I don't think. I think they're different, and you get different results. But experiment with the two
I don't
different.
use a plastic that much, like what you're saying, but I mean that's interesting though. That's interesting, Chris. I like that. Greg, I like that too, man. I like it. Now you got me tripping out, man. I'm gonna go slap on some dents right now, dude. So
I can tell you that that process has really been able to help me repair some dents that I didn't think that were repairable, but because as you bring it as you're slapping it back up, there comes a time that the dent's no longer moving. So then you got to open it back up right at the sharp point of the tip. But man, I can assure you, by putting some heat on the panel and slapping the backside of it and open it up however many times you have to, and just making it real clean as you bring it up, it's really an effective way to fix a pretty deep repair too, majority of the time.
Wow. Yeah. I like a lot, man. I like that. You guys got me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Have you guys got, and I'm sure some of you have, and this is sort of something that's probably even, it's really elementary to be honest, but it seems like recently I've fixed several trucks that, in front of the rear tire on the bedside, down there is some coating at the bottom side of the bed panel. And a lot of times the dents that get hit there are usually pretty good size repairs. I would say anywhere from 3 to 6 inches dents in that area. And they sometimes are in the rock coating, the rock guard coating. I don't know how many people actually have a nailer. It's a nailer that's been adapted over to have screw-on tips. I know DG has one because I've seen him talk about it. But it's just basically it's like a little jackhammer, but it's a nailer that you can put screw-on tips on.
Yeah, the Craftsman nailer.
Yes.
Nail gun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's always been a time where I felt like that getting a dent dial inside there and pushing that area out, or pulling the wheel off, or removing an air fender, anything of that nature, has always been, some leverage point issue based on that location.
Yeah.
Well, recently I have taken a rubber ball and put on that nailer. I've actually taken a couple different styles of plastic tips. And if you just go up underneath there and set your light down on the bottom side of the bedside, and you can just actually jackhammer that dent out in that area with the right tip, and never have to worry about a leverage point at all. It's basically, you're taking that tool and just, that's all it's doing is beating the dent out, but the tip is soft enough that it's not causing any damage. And then after that, you just tap the high down and it's done. It's so quick and easy. And I know it may sound elementary to you, but I don't know, for some reason I've had so many of those recently show up, and it's like, I don't even need a leverage point. I'm just putting a nailer on it and it's done,
Yeah, especially if it's a long bed, right? Because if it's a long bed, that distance between the wheel and the front of that bed is pretty big. And I'm sure I know Vince does this all the time. He takes out his Craftsman hammer and he just uses his Craftsman hammer.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I do. I beat it from behind.
It's just, and I haven't, for some reason, I've never done that until recently, and it's been so effective. And for some reason, I've had several of them show up. It's pretty crazy.
It's a whole new skill. I mean, when Vince told me he started doing that, I started doing it, and I've gotten better and better and better at it. Now it's natural for me.
Where do you get that? Like, where do you get the pieces that fit on, or the attachments? Because I know you just can't go buy one of those and just freaking put it on, right?
Well, they don't even sell that tool anymore. Craftsman stopped selling it.
Oh, great.
So you might be able to find it on eBay, but I forget who, back in the Dording days, somebody made some ends for that thing.
I got them from that guy, and I
bought 3 of them.
Yeah.
I have 3 of them just because I wanted to hoard it, in case.
Well, thanks, guys, for bringing up tools that we can't get.
Yeah. And you don't have that tool.
Here's a tech tip. Well.
Oh my goodness, my bad on that one.
All right, guys.
You're the guy that knows who done it.
Yeah. I'm just joking. Hey, okay. Here, my tech tip is more of an app tech tip. Daniel, Chris, Van Winkle. Vince is like where he go. He probably went to go get some food. And all you techs out there who are starting to use your phones as the main resource of your camera, I highly recommend this app. It's called Filmic Pro. You can open up the capabilities of your phone much more than you ever thought you could. You can film super slow motion better than the camera it can itself. You can shoot.
Now that's not a free app, right?
It's not a free app, but man, it's better than buying a whole giant camera. You know what I mean?
It's like $9, right?
Or I think it's $14.99. I think it's $15.
Okay, 14.
But it's worth every penny because you can have control of your lighting. It teaches you technically how to use a camera. So if you're going to go and jump and get a Mike Toledo, I want to get a full rig like Mike. Don't do that yet. Go download Filmic Pro. Learn how to use those type of settings on your phone. More importantly, it's actually fun. It's really cool. And they got tons of tutorials on YouTube on how to use it, set it up, and technically, if you like slow-mo, I think the best thing to do now too is the most interesting shots. And listen, you guys aren't shooting for customer or for us. You're shooting it for your customers. You want to blow them out of the way. So use a lot of slow-mo shots. If you're going to pull a dent with the glue pulling, don't forget to set your camera on 120 frames a second. Put it on there and do a slow-mo shot. Take that clip and put it on Instagram, put it on YouTube, or save that clip and put it together on a whole new vlog that you're going to do. It's super interesting. So download it, check it out, use it, and then it also knows your mic settings, and it has a whole glorious thing. So check it out. I've been using it for a long time, but I've been really, really liking it for my phone now. So
now, how do you spell it? So if we're looking for the app.
Filmic, Filmic, and then Pro, Pro.
Okay.
All right.
There you go.
All right. So, all right, we are out of here. We're well over here. Greg, I want to say thank you. Thank you very much for coming on, man. I really do. And
thank you, guys. I really appreciate every one of you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, Greg, where can they find you? Because I want everybody to say where they can find you, because you guys are guests on my podcast here. So what's your handle on Facebook, or what is your handle on all these social media places? Where can they check you out
at? Dent Masters of Arkansas on Facebook, and on Instagram it is Dent Masters Dent_Masters_AR.
Cool. I'll put that on there. Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you guys so much, man. Appreciate y'all.
You got it, Greg. You got it.
Greg.
Christopher Ray, where can they find you at, dude?
Just at Dentless Touch on Twitter and Instagram or Facebook.
Cool. Daniel?
Really? You can find me anywhere, man. I'm everywhere. PDR.
Yeah, but don't worry about it, guys, because you know what? He doesn't
Moto
post
PDR.
Anything anyways, dude. So don't worry about it. So.
All I want to say is one last thing.
Yeah.
Peace, love, and the perfect Mai Tai.
There you go. Kiki, do you love me? Vince?
Oh, same thing. Facebook.
What?
PDR Tool Time.
What's your handle?
My handle. You can find me at Anson PDR now.
Oh, and you can find them at cheapbastard.com.
Cheapbastard.com.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. We're all out of here. Thank you for listening. We'll see you on the next podcast later.